humanity. Hello, hello, hello. How we darn? How we darn? Let me know if you can hear me, if things sound okay. I have a fan on in the background, and I want to know before I start. Can you hear that fan? Is it interfering with the audio? Because if it is, then I will turn it off, okay? So if the fan is annoying, if you can hear it, if it's impacting the audio, let me know right now. I'm going to turn it off and go turn the AC on. But, you know, just trying to save some money by using a fan instead of the AC. So please let me know if it is a problem or not, because if it is, we can fix it. What's up, Andrew? Says rank your top 5, or I guess AJ Brown, Waddle, and CD. Right now I have it Waddle, CD, AJ Brown. But I think everyone's going to have a little bit of a different variation there. At coffee shop, but ready to mock. Hell yeah. I love that you have the emojis there as well. Shout out to everyone who's a YouTube member. Appreciate you guys. Jared says, how are we feeling about these rookie picks? If all goes to plan this week, and I should have 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, I like it. What's up, Max? Steven says, only listening this week. It was too much to mock and work at the same time last week. That's okay. Reaver says, when the commissioner of your league actively tanks by not having a kicker and defense on the roster, has 2 players on bye, barely loses, pick I traded for goes from 4 to 6, maybe worse if playoffs. Yeah, I mean, everyone's got an opinion on tanking. We released a video because it was a question that we had. It was a question we got asked a lot. Like, what do you do about tanking? And I released a video that kind of explained our process. We do have rules against it. It's up to you. Some people are like, look, tanking's a strategy. Deal with it. I like to do everything possible to keep our leagues competitive, to keep people active, and to make sure that people are fielding their best teams. I just think it's the best way to do it. You can watch that video on our page if you're interested, but everyone has their own opinions on it, and that's understandable. At what pick, not Superflex, do you draw the line, meaning you're willing to trade away the pick? Not Superflex. In a non-Superflex, probably like the 106 onward, 10, honestly, probably the 105 onwards, around there, 104, 105. Sounds good. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Okay. What happened to Badake? Kicked him out, man. Just was like, see ya. No, he's with his family, guys. He's in New York. He's in Brooklyn with his family, living it up. Dylan says, just fine. Fan is fine. Okay. I'm so old I can't hear it. AC, bro. We need heat here. Yeah, I'm in Australia. I don't know if you guys know that. I'm American. We're both American here on this channel, but we're both living in Australia. Well, right now, Badake's in New York. Leave the league. What's up, Lakers? Texas thinks it's Southern Hemisphere this week. Got that AC going. Is this just a rookie mock or Dynasty startup? It is just a rookie mock. What's up, Calvin? San Antonio weather is super nice today. Love that. How many rounds? We're going to do 2 rounds. 2 rounds today. And it's going to be a good old time. So, thank you so much for joining me, guys. I'm very excited for today. We're going to be doing a 2-round 2023 rookie mock draft, and I'm really excited for you guys to join me, for us to have conversations about these players. So, I think firstly, the biggest question is, okay, what do I do to get into this mock? Well, all you got to do is join our Discord to be, you know, in the running, in the consideration, if you will. And let me go ahead and put our Discord link in the chat. It is in the description right now if you want to join our Discord. I will also paste it in the chat for you guys. Let me just go ahead and grab it. Let me see here. Where's it at? Where's it at? Here it is. You can join our Discord here if you like. To be in consideration for the mock. It's quite simple how it works. I paste the link in the Dynasty Mock Drafts text channel, and the first 11 people who can join me, they get in. I want you guys to know, to tell me, what spot do you want me to take here? I want to take whatever spot you guys want. So the most commented spot, that's the one I'm going to take, and because I feel like the 101 is really easy. Hey, Dogzo.
He wants to jump in.
Thank you so much for the donation, brother. He says, I have 5 firsts in 23, 5 seconds. I'm only missing running backs. How should I approach the draft in 23? Also, negative 15 today where I live. Damn, that's rough. You're only missing running backs. I'm not opposed to adding a whole bunch of youth there, man. I'm not opposed to hitting the best running backs, the best wide receivers, and the best quarterbacks in this draft. I'm still not opposed to that. I'm also not opposed to using like 1 or 2 of those firsts and 1 or 2 of those seconds and going out and getting guaranteed talent, proven young commodity, not vets, but young proven talent. Your Waddles, your ETNs, your Justin Fields, your Tuas. You know, like I'm not opposed to doing those kind of moves either. So overall, I personally believe that if you have that many picks, it is wise to kind of spread your seed. Pause. But I personally think it's wise to kind of spread, you know, your opportunities both in the draft. Don't get rid of the rookie picks. Not all I'm saying, but if you can go out and get young talent as well, definitely worth it. Is Gibbs over Stroud craziness? No, we'll talk about it today. We're gonna go 2 rounds. The link will be sent on Discord in the Dynasty mock draft text channel. We are going to be using the same mock draft that we used yesterday for landing spots. So I'll go ahead and paste that link in the chat right now for mock drafts. This is the mock draft that we used. We'll go over that in a second, but in case you guys want to use that, this will be the mock draft that we use again for landing spots. Put that in the Dynasty mock drafts text channel. But hey guys, 43 people 43 likes already, 56 people watching. You guys are incredible. Hey, the likes, the love on these streams have been so appreciated. I really appreciate the support thus far. Do me a massive favor, if you have yet to drop a like it. You like that? You like that? It's the easiest, most simple way for you to support our content, to support our work, to support what we do, to support the time and effort we put in. So if you could do us a favor, drop a like. And I think we had like 150 likes on yesterday's or something like that. So if we can hit that number again, that would be incredible. Thank you so much for the love. I've decided that I'm all in on Anthony Richardson for the Commanders. I would love that as a project for sure. All right, let's get straight into it. I'm seeing 2, 8, 3, 3, 5, 3, 3, 8, 13, 6, 9, 3, 6. I feel like the one I heard the most was 3 here. I heard a lot of 3s. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 3 spot here, and we'll see how this works out. This is Superflex. I'm going 1 and 2 in Superflex contract league. Probably going Bijan and Gibbs. Don't mind it. You like that? Badake will be back, I think a week from now or so. Again, guys, Badake's visiting family. He's in New York. He's in Brooklyn. Hasn't seen his family in a while, so that's what he's been doing. I've been doing my best to hold it down. Put it reversed here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and send this link out again in the Discord. If you don't join, then please do not verbally abuse me. Keep in mind, there's 950 plus of you in the Discord. There are 11 spots, so you do the math. So here we go. First come, first serve. Send the link now. Okay. All right, so that link has been sent, and people are joining. From what I've heard, guys, from the people around the block, the formula for the most success to get in is to be on desktop, to have Sleeper already open in a browser as well as Discord. That's just what I've heard. Make sure you're signed in, obviously. But you know, people are going to make some, they're going to miss some, but we're going to have plenty of opportunities as we go. The OG is back. MP is here. I love it. What's up, Lyra? Okay, guys. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to draft the 2023 rookie class, okay? Obviously, it's all kickers that you can draft. When you draft a player, tell us what the player is, either in the YouTube chat or the Sleeper chat, and I will add that player for you to your roster. It'll start to make sense as we go. And I photoshopped all the players, put some time in, put some work in one night, and just photoshopped all the players. Well, most of the players. There might be some missing, but definitely not for the first 2 rounds. We'll have everyone that you guys want to select. This is a Superflex non-tight end premium league. And the other bit of content that we need to remember is that this is the landing spots that we are using. That is in the Discord. It is also in the chat now. Bryce Young is a Texan. CJ Stroud is a Seahawk. Will Levis is a Lion. I want CJ or Bryce to go to the Lions, but that's a possibility that happens. Quentin Johnston's a Packer. Jordan Addison links up with Bryce. I like that. Jackson Smith and Jigba is a Charger. Whew! Could you imagine that landing spot? I keep telling people, watch out for the Chargers in the first round, man. They could go wide receiver with all these aging guys they have. Michael Mayer is a Commander. Bijan is a Buck, which I don't care where Bijan goes. He's automatically my 101. Anthony Richardson is a Jet. I actually really like that landing spot. Plenty of talent around him. Let's see who else here. Jahmyr Gibbs is a Bill, so keep that in mind. Jahmyr Gibbs is a Bill. Darnell Washington is a Saint. Jalen Hyatt is a Jag. Josh Downs is a Panther. Hendon Hooker is a Colt. Rashee Rice is a Brown. Tanner McKee is a Raider. Ooh, that's an interesting landing spot. Okay, Tanner McKee, he's a big boy, and he looks the part. Cedric Tillman, a Patriot. Any other ones that we should cover? Zach Evans is a Cardinal. I like that landing spot for him. Zay Flowers is a Falcon. Dalton Kincaid is a Lion. I like that landing spot as well. Devin Akane, a.k.a. A-Train, is a Dolphin. Somehow Tyler Van Dyke was drafted. No, hey. Marvin Mims is a Seahawk. Hutchinson is a Titan. That's a nice landing spot for him. Raheem is a Giant. Musgrave is a Bengal. Washington is a Cowboy. Okay, you guys get the idea. We're probably not going to draft some of those players anyway, but those are the landing spots. Hey, 73 people watching. I have never actually really asked anyone to do this on a live stream, but I've been kind of more intentional about tweeting this year. And I like to tweet things out during the game. I had a hit tweet, my first hit tweet ever. This was, I've never had this many likes. I was like, oh, this is cool. So if anyone's interested at all in following me on Twitter, I'll paste my Twitter in there. Again, post random things. I even post things about players, like in Dynasty. I've posted about Boutte. Sometimes I do Q&As for fantasy football. We talk about Calvin Ridley. I've even talked about like KJ Jefferson. So I'm trying to be more active on there. I know Twitter is a big part of the Dynasty community. I want to be a little bit more active on there. And if you guys want to follow me, feel free. No pressure. Okay, so we know the landing spots. We know what we're doing. 3 minutes, I believe, or 2 minutes on the clock. So here we go. And we're rolling.
What the?
Already a reach. Already a huge reach. Are you kidding me? There is no way that Cole Murphy should be going 101. Has to be Justin Tucker. I'm just kidding. Let us know who Cole Murphy is. Hand the man. Let's see who it is. I'm sure it's Bijan, but has he put it in the chat? I'm not sure. Bijan, okay. This is Bijan Robinson. No surprise. I personally think Bijan should have been a Heisman candidate. He wasn't. Stetson Benton is for whatever reason. You tell me why he's a Heisman candidate other than his team is winning games. Very interesting, but Bijan, the best running back prospect, I would say, since Saquon Barkley, can do it all. Great pass catcher. In fact, I think him as a pass catcher, Bijan as a pass catcher, is not talked about enough. This guy is running legit routes, okay? He is the best prospect since Saquon Barkley. Big, strong back, can handle the workload, can handle the receptions, is a good route runner. He's a complete package. He is the type of running back you build an offense around. I don't care where he goes, the offense will be built around him. So Bijan goes 101, makes a lot of sense. We don't need to overthink that. Yes, even in a Superflex league, less risk with Bijan Robinson. All right, let's see what the 102 is here. A lot of options. A lot of options here. All right. It looks like we are going C.J. Stroud here. So in this mock draft, C.J. lands with the... Doesn't he land with the Seahawks? I mean, that is a beautiful landing spot for C.J. I mean, you're seeing what Geno Smith is doing right now. And look, let's give Geno Smith some props, because Geno Smith has been great. He's been great. Quarterback 7 on the year, uber efficient, has been making some very special throws. Let's give him props. I know there's a lot of Seahawks fans out there in our live streams who are like, you're not talking about Geno enough. So let's give him some props for 1 second. But if you put CJ Stroud on the Seahawks, that is very intriguing to me, because CJ Stroud can definitely do exactly what Geno Smith is doing. He's a very good mental processor in real time, which is something that I don't see from other guys like Will Levis in this draft. And I actually think he's a better processor of the game in real time than Bryce Young. Now, Bryce Young's a better improviser. He's better out of the pocket. He's better with those non-scripted plays. But you put CJ Stroud in that offense. The offensive line is improving. You have Ken Walker to build around. You have a no doubt Hall of Fame coach. You have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett on the end of his career. There's a conversation point for CJ Stroud to be the first quarterback off the board. You might like Bryce Young more. I might like Bryce Young more. But with quarterbacks, I feel like landing spot is more important than any other position. So you put him in that offense, it becomes really interesting. And I definitely think he can replicate what Geno Smith is doing. Give him a year. Give him a year. Let him make some mistakes, and he can be the future of that franchise, no doubt in my mind. Okay, I'm up here. Again, it is a super flex draft. Ooh, it's a super flex draft, and there's such a good conversation between risk and known talent. Like right now, if I'm at the 103, this is tough, man, because I got Bryce Young there. It's a super flex league. I like Bryce Young. I think he can potentially be even more successful in fantasy because of his skill set than CJ with what he can do on the ground. He's a great improviser. I definitely think he will continue to grow in the area of rushing as a quarterback as well. But he is a smaller quarterback, and there is real concern for injury risk long-term for his career. There's also concern that, there hasn't been a huge sample size of players at his size being successful, but he's been successful every step of the way. We've seen Kyler Murray do it. I think he can sort of replicate his game off of Kyler Murray. Kind of a combo of Kyler and not Drew Brees, but his ability to maybe see the game in real time. However, I think there is less risk out there at the running back position. I truly think there is less risk at the running back position here. If I'm at the 102, I don't think Gibbs is the wrong answer either. I love Jahmyr Gibbs, a clone of Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, name the player that you want. I feel like I have a higher success rate, less risk if I take Gibbs here than if I take one of these quarterbacks. So that's my decision right now. Now, keep in mind, that decision can change, and I promise you it probably will change as the offseason goes on. But I just think there is less risk. I know it's super flex, but I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs. That is where I stand today, the 7th of December. I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs here at the 103. Now, could that change come February, come January? Absolutely. That could change, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But put Jahmyr Gibbs in that Buffalo Bills offense. I know we're worried about Josh Allen, taking a little bit of work for him. But if you draft a running back in the first round, you give him first-round draft capital, which this is the landing spot we're talking about, first-round draft capital for Jahmyr Gibbs. He automatically becomes your starting running back. It doesn't matter if James Cook looks good. It doesn't matter if Devin Singletary looks good. You drafted him in the first round. He will be the instant starter. And now you will go from James Cook, Devin Singletary being nice complementary pieces of this offense to, okay, Stephon Diggs is our number 1 in the offense. Our number 2 is now Jahmyr Gibbs. We're going to call up plays for him. We're going to get screen plays. He's going to touch the ball in the air 5 times a game, and we're going to give him 15 carries. That's what happens if you draft a Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round. That will instantly happen. And so I would be pretty excited about this landing spot. But I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think Bryce Young is the wrong answer. That's a tough position to be in, man. A really tough position to be in. I see why you guys put me there at the 103.
What the?
I'm assuming this is Bryce, but we'll see what McGungy. Is it McGungy? Yeah. McGungle. Sorry. Let's see what he's going to do here. McGuniggle. So before he said his player, he just wanted to clarify how to say his name. Okay, so this is Bryce Young. Honestly, if you're sitting at the 104 in this year's draft, it feels pretty good. It does feel pretty good. Hey, I don't have to live with the regret if I pass up on Bryce Young, and if you take Bryce Young and he doesn't work out, I get Gibbs. I mean, the 104 feels really comfy right now. It feels like I don't have to take any risk. I don't have to worry about missing out on a player. Whoever of these top 4 is left, give me them, and I'm just going to rock on and not have any worries because I didn't have a chance to mess it up. So I like the 104 right there. That feels very comfortable. But Bryce Young to the Texans. Not only is Bryce Young to the Texans, but let's keep in mind, Bryce Young now gets to link up with his former wide receiver in John Mechie. He also now gets Jordan Addison. We'll see what they do with Brandon Cooks. The offensive line is decent. Who knows what the head coach situation will be. Hopefully there's a head coach there that is able to build around Bryce Young. So it's not a bad landing spot at all. It's not a bad landing spot. I like it. I like it. All right, let's see who this next pick was for Macy. He says 105, Jackson Smith and Jigba. He even types out his height. He says 6 foot, 198 pounds, Ohio State University. Not only was D. Macy confident in his decision, he decided to say it with some passion. He said Jackson Smith and Jigba, the Ohio State University. And he lands with the Chargers in this mock. To me, with the landing spot, that does feel like the clear 105. If Addison went to the Chargers, Jackson, Quentin, I mean, that is the perfect landing spot to grow with a young Justin Herbert. All 3 of these wide receivers in this year's draft, I've said it, I'll say it again, they offer different things. They are different wide receivers. It's hard to compare them. You got Addison, who is more of your route runner, the Calvin Ridley comp, the Devonta Smith comp. You have Jackson Smith, who is more over the middle. We haven't seen him on the outside. He has been very successful in an offense that had Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, not the most athletic guy, but very technically sound. And then you have Quentin Johnston, who is the big body, 6'4", the D-Hop comp, the T. Higgins comp, if he ever reaches that ceiling. So they're all a little bit different. They all offer you something a little bit different. But we got Jackson Smith and Jigba here at the 105. He lands with the Chargers. I like that landing spot. I mean, look, already the issues that Keenan Allen is having. We know an aging wide receiver who is dealing with hamstring injuries, it doesn't get easier from here on out. It does not get easier. So I like this. Jackson Smith over the middle could be huge. And keep in mind, Garrett Wilson's only Gerald Everett is only on a 1-year deal anyway. So there's no guarantee that he's part of their long-term plans. I like this pick. He's kind of the younger generation coming in for Justin Herbert to build around. Eckler's older. Mike Williams is older. Keenan Allen is he's getting there. I like it. Makes a lot of sense.
What the?
All right, let's see. Honestly, the fact that we still have Harrison Butker on the board is criminal. How is Harrison Butker still on the board? How is Young Hoku still on the board? Okay, so JR goes, he goes Jordan Addison here. No surprise. I think you're going to see some combination of these wide receivers next. I wouldn't be surprised if these wide receivers go back to back to back in all of your drafts right after each other. I think that will make a lot of sense. But obviously, look, a lot of things could change from now until rookie draft season, which is for most people would be around April, right after the draft. So we see Jordan Addison go here. His landing spot again was the Texans, so he links up with Bryce Young. That could be an instant connection. It could take a while for Bryce to find his footing in the NFL. It's hard to say, But as far as a playmaker, he's able to create separation. Very good route runner. The Calvin Ridley, Devonta Smith comps are there. He is probably, if you ask me who has the best chance to be Chris Olave year one in the 23 class, to me that's Addison with how he's able to create separation. If you can create separation and you're a good route runner, you're going to be successful in the NFL from the get-go. That's just the reality. So I like this pick. It makes a lot of sense. And Bryce Young, already they're building around him. I like it in Houston. There goes Butker off the board. Come on. Okay, so it's Zach Evans. I like it. It's not too bold for me. I'm a big Zach Evans fan. As of right now, he is my running back 3 in the class. He has been my running back 3 for quite some time. Absolutely loved his TCU film. was a big fan of his TCU film. And I think the reason he's getting overhated right now in the Dynasty community is because of Quinshon Judkins. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Do not discount Zach Evans because of Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins is the best running back in the 2025 class. Yes, he was a 3-star recruit, but you need to understand the context as to why he was a 3-star recruit. No one went to his games. No one was scouting him except for Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin went to his high school games. He was watching him play, and he said, oh my God, we have an absolute superstar right here that nobody knows about. That's what Lane Kiffin does. That's how he's built the Ole Miss program. He is one of the best recruiters in college football. So he found Quinshon Judkins, who is an absolute superstar, no question, will be the number 1 running back in the 2025 class. Don't discount Judkins, or rather Zach Evans, because of how good Judkins is. You didn't discount Javonte Williams because of how good Michael Carter is, did you? So let's not make any sort of mistake there. Zach Evans, 5-star talent out of high school, big body, explosive player, very dynamic, very versatile, very good on the goal line as well. Kind of similar to how when Javonte Williams came into the NFL, his tape showed very high efficiency on the goal line. And we're seeing the same for Zach Evans. And there's also been reports that he's not been pushing to play because he's focusing on the draft as well. I'm not sure if that's impacted at all his opportunities. Maybe it has. Maybe he's already been told by his agent, dude, you're locked in as a 2nd-round pick. Don't worry. Like, you don't need to push anything. There's enough on tape. Don't worry. So I like the pick there. I think it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Trying to keep up with the chat, but honestly, it's very hard to keep up with the chat. I love that everyone's chatting, though, putting their thoughts in. Okay, so this is Anthony Richardson off the board. I was very curious to see where he would go. You know, last time we did this mock draft, we didn't know if Anthony Richardson was going to declare. In fact, it was my opinion that I thought he would go back to college. I thought it would have benefited him a lot. Hometown kid from Gainesville, Florida. Probably not satisfied with the performance of the team this year. I thought for sure he would go back and just have another year under his belt. But he declared. He's, again, just like Zach, he's probably got an agent in his ear saying, look, if you declare this year, you're a guaranteed 1st-round pick. So there's no reason for you to go back. I know you would have wanted to do more for Florida. Don't leave this money on the table. You have a chance at a 5-year contract, and you're probably going to go later in the draft. This is the ideal scenario for you, Anthony. You're going to go later in the draft to a team that already has a good foundation. So I think this makes a lot of sense for Anthony Richardson to go here. All the tools to be a top 5 NFL quarterback. He's got the arm strength. At times, he shows the accuracy. Has the Cam Newton build with what he can do on the ground. Now, there's a higher chance he's a bust than him being a superstar in the NFL. As with every 1st-round quarterback that has ever been drafted in the history of the NFL. However, purely on the traits alone, we are looking at a player who could potentially be a top 5 dynasty quarterback in the span of the next 2 to 3 years. So the upside is there. Obviously, the floor is extremely low. The floor is Antarctica, right? Is Antarctica at the bottom or the top of the globe? Whatever is the icy one at the bottom, that's the floor, okay? And the ceiling is the highest tower in the world, okay? This guy's pretty good at geography. Okay, so this is going to be Quentin Johnston, which I think that makes a lot of sense. Landing spot is nice for him. The only thing I don't like when I keep seeing Quentin Johnston to the Packers, I'm a big Quentin Johnston guy. I like Quentin Johnston. I really think he can be a very successful NFL wide receiver. All the traits. Size, very good speed for his size. Needs to improve his hands a little bit. Too many body catches, but pretty good after the catch. Can be the T. Higgins. Can be potentially D-Hop if he ever reaches that sort of ceiling in his career. I just don't understand the Packers as his landing spot. And if you guys are following along with us with these landing spots, that was the landing spot he had, was the Green Bay Packers. You already have Christian Watson there, who is 6'5", freak athlete. It just doesn't feel like that's the best landing spot for him. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I think this is going to be Will Levis. And it is going to be Will Levis. honestly, I am not a big Will Levis guy, but at this point of the draft, if we're going to say everything that we just said about Anthony Richardson, we have to apply the same logic to Will Levis. Has all the tools. I actually believe that Anthony Richardson, like, if you're going to tell me I'm a GM of an NFL team, and you're going to say, okay, you have 3 years to build a superstar quarterback between Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, I will be choosing Anthony Richardson just based off of the raw materials that are given to me. However, I would say if there's a 1A, 1B to like the upside in this draft at the quarterback position, you could put Will Levis at the 1B. Now, similar to Richardson, I think Levis has real troubles reading defenses in real time, and that's put him in some tough scenarios. I cannot believe that he lost. Actually, I think both of these players lost to Vanderbilt. Very embarrassing loss. Threw under 50% completion percentage, had an interception, no touchdowns. I understand, though, the context as to why he's been so bad this year. You lost Wan'Dale Robinson, young wide receivers, one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. He's been dealing with injuries, but he's got a rocket for an arm. He is a mobile quarterback in most scenarios. I feel like the bust rate on Levis is high, but similar to Richardson, like, we have to admit, there is a high ceiling there as well. If I have to draft one of these players, it's probably going to be Richardson. But I think you have to say the same things for both of them. I don't think I can say all these good things about Anthony Richardson and then trash on Will Levis. I think they're in very similar scenarios. Levis going drafted. You heard it here first. But yeah, it will be interesting, right? Levis actually will be very interesting to see what the draft capital is, because everyone and their mom has him drafted in the top 10 of every mock draft right now, right? I don't think he's a first-round talent. That's just me. So is this another scenario in which the mock draft community and like all the NFL analysts are not on the same page with GMs, similar to what we saw last year with the quarterback class? Or is this a case of truly GMs are looking at him thinking, I can build around this young talent. I can develop him into being a superstar quarterback? Well, we don't know what the answer is yet. But to be fair, if Will Levis does get this sort of draft capital, the 4th overall pick, then it's pretty hard to ignore. It's pretty hard to ignore. And that's a very good landing spot. If not probably the best landing spot for a quarterback this year. Incredible offensive line that's quite young. Good weapons. Jameson Williams hasn't even been unleashed yet. You got DeAndre Swift back there. I mean, it's a very, very good landing spot. So I think he's worth a pick for sure. I'm just more of a Richardson over Levis guy, but both have very high bust potential. Okay, this is Michael Mayer. Yeah, this is the point of the draft where it's like, okay, where do I go? If anything, if people are looking for a cutoff, because Boutte didn't declare, I think the cutoff is a little bit higher now than we wanted it to be. But if you're looking for a cutoff and you're like, okay, where should I trade back? The second round is going to be really good this year. It is going to be really good. In a non-tight end premium format, I don't want to take Mayer this early, especially if he's going to the Commanders. They're already struggling to get Dotson involved on a consistent basis. You know, you add Mayer there. Good overall player, not the best athlete at the tight end position. Good overall player, though. Good in most areas. When does he become fantasy relevant? In a non-tight end premium, I don't think he's worth a first-round pick. That's just my personal opinion. Doesn't mean that everyone has to feel that way or that everyone would feel that way. But this is the point of the draft where it's like, where do I go next? There's a lot of running backs I'm taking over Mayer personally. But a lot of people's questions are always, okay, where's the cutoff point, man? Where do I cut off? So for me, I would say the first 4, there's a teardrop. That's just my personal opinion at this point. Again, things are very subject to change. I think there's then another teardrop, raindrop, drop top. I would say there's another teardrop around the 107, 108, and then I would say the 110. If you don't get one of these 10 players here, not that you're not going to get a good talent, but I think it's worth trading back. I think this is the cutoff point. Right around Will Levis is where I would say the cutoff point is, because there's still very good players on the board, but I'm not sure the draft capital will be there to make a huge differentiator between the 112 and the 2-4. Like, I actually really liked the back end of the draft last year. I was like, you can tell me I could get a George Pickens, who pre-draft talent evaluation was my wide receiver 2. You tell him I could get a Jahan Dotson, who was drafted in the first round. I really liked that area of the draft last year. It's not as good this year, but overall, I would say the second round is much stronger, much deeper than what we saw last year as well. So I would say the cutoff point for me is kind of around this 10, because you're kind of in no man's land once you get to this 111 pick. It's tough here on out. So I can understand the pick of Michael Mayer, because it's like, where do you go? There's definitely running backs I personally would have gone there instead, but I can understand the concern. Oh, we got a punter. Someone took a punter. So let's see who it is here. This is Jalen Hyatt. See, you know, even Jalen Hyatt here, like, is this... I'm not saying it's the wrong pick, but do you feel good about taking Hyatt here? Just a general question to everyone out there who's watching. Like, Jalen Hyatt, he went in the second round to the Jags. What's his role in that team? Kirk will be in the slot. Ridley will be your X. So Hyatt becomes your Y. I like the talent. I've compared him a lot to Will Fuller, and I think this makes a lot of sense for the team, because I think he's a perfect Z for this team, actually. You put Calvin at the X, Kirk in the slot, Hyatt at the Z. But it's going to have to, like, his success early on in his career is going to have to be based off of efficiency, not the kind of volume that you would see for like an Olave or a Wilson as they begin their career. But so again, like, it's like, where do you go here? It's a tough spot. I can understand the concern, but Jalen Hyatt, I like him. I think he's one of those players where I'm not certain where he's going to get drafted this year. Like, he could end up in the back end of the first. He more feels like a mid-second round pick to me, kind of where your Sky Moore, your Pickens, your Alec Pierces went last year. But yeah, interesting prospect, man. Interesting prospect. Again, there's still a couple running backs I'm taking over this over Hyatt, but I understand. I understand why this move was made, for sure. That's the end of the first round. We're going to get to the second round here. Can you do me a huge favor as we're doing this live stream, as I did all this Photoshop and all that nonsense, and it's because I love to do it, but do me a massive favor. Could you drop a like on the stream? It is the easiest way, the most simple way. Hey, okay, graphic. To get. Thank you so much for the sub. Appreciate that. If you can drop a like for us, guys, that would mean a ton. It is the easiest, most simple way for you to support the channel, to support what we do. It means a lot. Every like does help the channel grow, so you are supporting our work with a like. 78 likes right now, and we have 130 people watching. I'm not a mathematician, but quick math say we could have 130 likes. So if everyone drops a like right now, that would mean a lot. That would be very, very kind of you, and I would be very grateful. Okay, so I need to put Jalen Hyatt there. But as I'm doing that, we'll go ahead and let the clock run. Here we go. Jalen Hyatt off the board at the 112. Yeah, I think the cutoff, guys, because that's a big question for a lot of people. With Boutte coming back to school, I think the cutoff point's a little bit higher than we wanted it to be. Yeah, but that second round is deep, man. It's a deep second round. All right, let's see what Hand the Man does here. So, recap. The first round, Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of The Ohio State University.
What the?
Jahmyr Gibbs, running back out of Alabama. Formerly running back of Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, right? Yeah, it's Tech, right? Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama. Jackson Smith, Jordan Addison, who went to the Chargers. I did this all wrong. I should have just told you the landing spots. Zach Evans is a Cardinal. Anthony Richardson is a Jet in the first round. Quentin Johnson's a Packer. Will Levis is a Lion. Michael Mayer's a Commander. And Jalen Hyatt is a Jag. And we now have Tucker, which this will be Sean Tucker. For me, I'm personally probably taking Sean Tucker over Hyatt, over Myers, as well as a couple other running backs. But Sean Tucker is definitely one of those running backs I would personally be taking over. But I'm really curious with his draft capital, man. I want to know what the NFL thinks about Sean Tucker. And I don't think truly will know or have a good pulse until testing comes, until the combine comes. But I'm curious if the NFL sees what a lot of people in the Dynasty community see in Sean Tucker. We'll find out. What was his landing spot here? I can't. Did he have a landing spot? Let's find out. I don't know if he got drafted or not. Sean Tucker. He didn't get drafted, so we don't have a landing spot for him. But I think in a previous mock, I had seen him go to the Eagles. That would be an interesting landing spot, especially if they decide to move on from Miles Sanders and decide not to pay him, which we've seen teams do. So there goes Sean Tucker off the board, running back out of Syracuse. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of capital he gets. Shout out to the 120 people watching the stream. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Graphic says, just dropped my second like. Keep the content coming. Thank you very much. How are you guys drafting punters? You guys are going all the way down the board. I don't even see a punter available. Where are you going to draft punters? I'm at the bottom of the screen. How are you drafting punters? You guys have got hacked somehow. Okay, this is going to be Hooker. All right, how about Hendon Hooker, guys? How do we feel about Hendon Hooker? Was drafted in this mock draft. I believe he was a second-round pick, yes, by the Colts. So the landing spot's pretty good. I mean, that's a good organization to kind of do your rehab at, to take your time. We'll build around you. 25-year-old quarterback, but man, I really loved his game. I really, really enjoyed watching him. And to me, a lot of people call him a game manager. I think his upside is more than just a game manager. Great legs, true dual threat quarterback, made a lot of high IQ decisions, can read the field really well in real time, which again, we don't see that for some of these younger players. But he's done a lot of growth. He is 25 years old, but he has made leaps and bounds in his game. He has made all the steps that you want an Anthony Richardson, that you want a Will Levis to take by the time that they are his age. So Hendon Hooker, obviously an older quarterback, will be 25 when he's drafted. What he did for Tennessee is very impressive. A team that we're typically not seeing in the top 10 year after year. Made a lot of people relevant. Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman. Just a good overall, really well-rounded game. I've heard some comps to like Teddy Bridgewater. I think that's accurate, but I would more say Teddy Bridgewater before his injury. I don't know if you guys remember Vikings Teddy Bridgewater before that injury. He was a good quarterback, and he was a very reliable guy. Did he have the upside to be like one of those top 5 quarterbacks? No, but he was a very good, well-rounded quarterback. So I can understand those comps. All right. Here we go at the 103. I was like, what are we going to do next? It's me. I have to make the decision. Okay, so Hooker goes off the board. I'm going to go running back here. Yeah, there's not a quarterback here that really makes sense. What was the draft capital? Because, again, for the quarterback position, I would say draft capital is more important than any other position. Didn't we have quarterbacks go off the board? This is the 3rd round now. I mean, what's the chances that they're really successful? Van Dyke, no thank you. Yeah. We're going to go a running back here. Evans is off the board. How about, where's my guy, Zach Charbonnet? They did not draft Zach Charbonnet. Really? We really don't think Charbonnet is going to go in the top 3 rounds, guys? That is surprising. Did they put Blake Corum in the top 3 rounds? I mean, his size kind of makes a little bit more sense. Okay, well, I would be really surprised if Zach Charbonnet is not a first round, or sorry, not a first round. I would be really surprised if Zach Charbonnet doesn't make it in the top 3 rounds. To me, he feels like an early 3rd round pick right now in the NFL draft. If you don't know much about Zach Charbonnet, let me go on a quick rant for you. Let me tell you a little bit about him. If I can bring up his name for you guys. It's always good to put a name to a face. So let me try and do that for you guys out there. I'm sure a lot of you are well educated about this class and you know a lot. But for those who are just learning, who are just finding out about this class, this is Zach Charbonnet. I really wanted Charbonnet to declare for last year's draft. Unfortunately, he decided to come back. He had his own reasons. He wanted to win a Pac-12 championship. He wanted to improve as a pass catcher, and he wanted to finish his degree, which I can respect. But he is 6'1", 220 pounds. This guy runs mean. In my scouting of his 2021 film, I wrote down a couple things, and I'll let you know what I wrote down. I said, very impressive vision, which is true. His vision is very impressive. Consistently shows an ability to identify the best running lane available and does the best that he can with what the offensive line gives him. The combination of size, strength, vision, contact balance, and his desire to keep pushing for more yards on every play makes Zach Charbonnet a real name to watch. I'm like writing like an article for myself. No one's reading this except for me. He could really solidify himself as a viable first and second down running back in the NFL, and potentially would be subbed out for third downs. Could handle 15 to 20 carries a game. If he was in last year's class, he would have been my RB3 in the class. Yes, that's right, over Dameon Pierce. I would have taken Zach Charbonnet over Dameon Pierce. So, again, again, it will be, thank you so much for the sub. It will be very, very interesting to see what sort of draft capital he gets. And if the NFL views him the same way that some of us in the community view him. But I'll go Zach Charbonnet here. I personally believe that he will be a top 3 round pick. Now, I could be wrong. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm a big, big fan of Zach Charbonnet's game, so I'll go ahead and take him here at the 203. But to be honest, there was a list there, guys, of about 4 running backs that I was considering. So even if I'm at the 203 there, I'm probably trying to trade back to like the 204 or 5 because there's a couple running backs I still really like that I could wait on. Jay Romo goes off the board. John Parker Romo, Tony Romo's brother, goes off the board. And let's see who this is here. Let's find out who this is. And as we're waiting to find out, do me a massive favor, drop a like on the stream. We're at 93 likes. You guys are absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the support. Every like truly does help the channel reach more people. And we are trying to grow this channel, blow it up this offseason. With your help, I think we can definitely do it. So drop a like for me. And let's get to the 100 mark likes. 7 likes away from 100. You guys can help us get there. Okay, so Josh Downs goes off the board. That's a good pick. That is a good pick. And honestly, with I have to admit my own errors here. With trying to keep up with the stream, with the comments, with the graphics, trying to tell you about players, I may have been a little bit lost in the sauce. Josh Downs was the right pick. In fact, I would say Josh Downs is probably the right pick probably from the end of the second or into the first, beginning of the second. Josh Downs is the right pick there. Some would say a little bit of a disappointing season this year, but he and Drake May have made some really big strides together. If you don't know Josh Downs, I'll tell you a little bit about him real quickly. I don't know if you guys enjoy this. Do you enjoy when I go on a little rant about players and tell you about them? If you're like, all right, can we just continue with the stream? Let me know, because I don't have to do this, but I always like to just share insight with anyone who, you know, hasn't had their pulse on college football for the entire year. So I want to tell you a little bit about Josh Downs. 5'10", 175 pounds. I think that's accurate. I don't think he's any heavier than 175. I think he might be limited to a slot-only role in the NFL, and that is slightly concerning because you would have to assume that he might not have the highest upside in this class compared to some of these other players. But back-to-back years where he's almost put up 100 receptions in both years, over 1,000 yards in both years. So absolutely, he can be a production monster. We have seen that, but might be a little bit limited when it comes to his role in the NFL. I think he's exclusively a slot wide receiver. 5'10", great speed, good hands, great competitor, good agility. I'm going to say, like, the ceiling, if you want to know the ceiling, like maybe, let's say, like a Tyler Lockett, you know, which is valuable. Tyler Lockett's had some really good years, and right now, another good year. I'm not saying that's an exact comparison, because comps are never exact, but I feel like that's what he could offer potentially an NFL team, and potentially what he could offer you in fantasy football. In this mock draft, Josh Downs went to the Panthers. Did the Panthers get to address their quarterback issues? They went edge rusher. That's rough. That is rough. Yeah, that would make it tough to draft Josh in the first round. They're not able to address their quarterback woes. It's going to be maybe Sam Darnold, Matt Corral year 2, new head coach. Maybe they try and bring in Jimmy G, Carson Wentz. I mean, who knows where they try and go, but as always, you try and bet on these talents long term. And if you were to draft Josh Downs and this was his landing spot and they weren't able to get a quarterback, that would be your statement. Would be, I'm going to try and bet on the talent long term, because right now the situation does not look good. But that's a little bit about Josh Downs for you. Yeah, so we'll see what he can do in the NFL.
What the?
There goes Blankenship. I like it. Okay, so this will be Condre Miller. If you guys don't know about Condre Miller, I've been talking about him a little bit over the last, I would say 3 weeks to, actually, I would say like the last month and a half. I've been talking about Condre Miller. He is the running back that replaced Zach Evans at TCU. He was given a full workload. He's put up huge numbers. Production has been really, really good for Condre Miller this year. Just a really good all-around running back. There's not really a true weakness to his game. Now, does he have home run speed? No. But I would say short area explosiveness is pretty impressive. And I would say that's arguably more important than home run speed. Because if you don't have good short area explosiveness, you're not able to even hit the hole to get to that second level anyway. So he does have that. He has that short area explosiveness. Pretty good on the goal line. Again, similar to like scouting Javonte Williams, you see some similarities in the way that they run, able to break tackles, elusive player. I really like Condre Miller, and I don't think this is too high for him at all. In fact, I was considering him and Zach Charbonnet at my pick. I think between when Evans is off the board, I would say Sean Tucker, Zach Charbonnet, Condre Miller. You could put Blake Corum in there. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss out any names. I'm not a Devin Akane guy, A-Train, but I think you can put all those guys in conversation as far as like who is the next player that you draft. And I don't imagine that any mock... I don't think analysts and mock draft guys are up to date with Condre Miller. I highly doubt he was drafted. No, he wasn't drafted. That's not a surprise at all to me. But I think he is... I had a question on last week's stream. Who do you think is a sleeper that's going to rise over the next, let's say, 3 months or so? I think Condre Miller is one of those sleepers that could rise. I really like his game. We're going to see him as well in the college football playoffs. He will get that college football playoff bump. Undoubtedly, he will. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see draft capital. I know McGungy said it in the sleeper chat, but it's true. Like, draft capital is ultimately one of the most important things for a running back. And we have to learn from past mistakes. Just because you like a running back and you enjoy his film and you enjoy watching him, if he gets drafted in the 7th round, there's no reason for him to probably be on your dynasty roster. Like, Pacheco has been valuable, but the percentage of a running back being fantasy relevant, drafted from like rounds 5 to 6 to 7, the percentage goes down in each round, but it's got to be less than 1% that they hit, that they're a success rate, that they get a long-term contract with their team that they drafted. So yeah, I like Condre. I'm very curious to see what the kind of draft capital he'll get. Akane to the Dolphins. Josh Downs over Hyatt. What's up, Jonathan? We'll find out who this is. Trying to keep up with the chat. No way. Josh Downs over JSN. No. Josh Downs, wide receiver 1. I mean, I respect you guys' opinion for sure. Everyone's welcome to their opinions. I think you guys are. I mean, you guys, you do you. Digging the Miller hype. Still waiting for some A.T. Perry love. We'll see. Jackson Smith super high. 3rd round grade. We'll see, man. We'll see. But we are doing this rookie mock draft based off of the mock draft landing spots that we discussed. And in that mock draft, he was drafted by the Chargers in the 1st round. It's Mayer, not Myers. I know, guys. I'm not going to say every name right, unfortunately. I'll do my best, though. Scary Hours was right. All right, here is Blake Corum off the board. You know, for as good as Blake Corum has been, and I don't want to disrespect him at all, he's been great. Like, there's no reason for me to disrespect him, and that's not what I'm doing. I am way more excited about Donovan Edwards.
What the?
I am floored about Donovan Edwards in the 2024 class. He could be very special. I'm talking like top 10 dynasty running back when he gets drafted special. I'm excited. I could be too high on him. Thank you, Maddie. I could be too high on him, but I'm very, very excited. Okay, so I think Speedy is going to go Devin Akane here. Is it a chain? Is it a cane? Who cares? We call him Devin A-Train, if you know the boys and you know. My thoughts on a Devin have been pretty well documented. It's not often that, you know, a player will be just completely off my board because of their size. It's not often, but if you don't hit at minimum certain marks, then you'll probably be completely off my board. Akane is one of those guys. Okay. Without a doubt, it's easy to watch film and see how damn fast Akane is. Probably the fastest player in college football. Probably, if he put all of his time and effort into it, could run track in the Olympics. Like, genuinely, one of the fastest players we have seen in the last decade. But not a natural running back. The size is a extreme concern for me. Because I know there's certain people in the community who really, really like him. I am not convinced that the size is going to give you the sort of draft capital you want for Devin Akane. In this mock draft, he was drafted in the third by the Dolphins. That's a nice landing spot. But Devin Akane, 5'9", 185. I don't even think he's 185. I think if you actually weighed him, he probably comes in right under 180. He might be 178. He might be 5'8", 178. And show me a player that's been successful at that size. I don't see a scenario in which Devin ever becomes a workhorse running back in the NFL. This is not a player, contrary to the Corums, contrary to the Charbonnets, the Kendre Millers, I'm missing a name. You know, contrary to those players who have the size, he will never get 15, 20 touches in the NFL. At college is different. Yes, he plays in the SEC, but putting him against those big NFL defensive tackles, it's going to be hard for him to get through those tackles. And to me, how he is successful in the NFL is as a satellite back, a third down role. And typically that doesn't carry much value into fantasy football. It has to be the right scenario. It has to be the right fit. It has to be James White with Tom Brady. And Tom Brady historically has thrown to his, you know, has checked down to his running backs more than most quarterbacks. It has to be the right scenario. Or it has to be a coach who is going to be very creative in the way that they use him. And when it comes to guys like this who are very much in the gadget player, you draw up 2 to 5 plays for them per game, and then they maybe play the third down role, it is hard to get sustained success. And you also have to worry about injury. Like probably at 178, if he ever were to get 20 touches in a game, I'd be worried that he'd get injured. Cannot handle a workload on a weekly basis. Just will not be able to. So certain guys like this, they will just be off my board. I don't care how late it is. Maybe I do. Like if it's in the 4th round, sure, why not, right? But where he's probably going to be drafted will be late 1st, early 2nd, I imagine. And I can't spend up on a player that I can't envisioning ever being a workhorse. I just want I very rarely rule people out because of their size, but this is one of those rare scenarios where I just have to. I don't see a scenario in which he's going to be worth the ADP. So that's just my opinion on a Kane. Okay, you guys have yours. Let me know. Let's see. Devin Kane. Okay, the Dolphins landing spot is tasty. Okay, I think G16 is going Rice. If you don't know Rashee Rice, I promise you, if you're in the Dynasty community, you will know the name very well before the NFL draft. I believe he's going to end up being everyone's sleeper pick. People are going to be taught. If you have friends that are like into Dynasty, they're going to be like, bro, I mean, you want to know a sleeper for the draft? Man, you heard it from me. Everyone's going to try and like make him their sleeper. You heard it from me, bro. Rashee Rice, SMU. Yeah, I know it's not a big school. I know they're not going to be nationally televised a lot, but this guy is incredible. Like, that's the kind of conversations we're going to be hearing. He's probably going to be, late second, early third. Depends on draft capital, but he does have an advantage in this draft in the sense that there's not a lot of wide receivers in this draft that have his size. If you're looking as a franchise for like a big body outside wide receiver, there's not a lot. You got Quentin Johnston. I guess you could put Cedric Tillman in that conversation. But outside of those guys, there are not a lot of big body receivers that teams can add. Cedric Tillman's 6'3", 215. Rashee Rice, 6'2", 203. I like the landing spot. To me, Rice feels more like a second option on a team. I don't think he will ever be a true superstar, but he could develop into, think about like what Michael Gallup was for the Cowboys before his injury. That was a flexible player. I'm not comparing them as players. I'm saying what his role could be in the NFL and what his output could be in fantasy football. Never going to be an alpha on a team. Never going to be a superstar in the NFL, but can be a very good player that can contribute to his team as the second option. And that's what we've seen from Michael Gallup. Very interesting player. I think I have some notes written down on him somewhere. Let me try and find my notes on him. I would say something that impressed me watching his film is how he gets off the line of scrimmage. Has a very quick release. Fights off defenders pretty well. Now, of course, he's not facing the toughest defenses, but solid release off the line of scrimmage. Good footwork. Average to above average route runner. Big physical guy. Pretty good at the catch point. Made some very impressive catches from the film that I watched. A lot of drops, though, and a lot of turnovers, a lot of mental mistakes. So I'm very curious to see where he will be drafted. Pretty good after the catch ability. So yeah, interesting player. Again, he's one of those guys where like, okay, does the NFL see what we see as far as like the upside, like worthy of a second, third round pick, or do they not see that? Because I remember when we were drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown, myself and Badake were like, we like Amon-Ra. And I remember we were actually live on our redraft channel because we didn't have a Dynasty channel at that time, but we were live. And we were into, well into day 2. And we're like, how is Amon-Ra still on the board? Sometimes NFL GMs don't see what we see. And then we kind of see what sort of capital is attached to a player. I still can't believe Washington went De'Ami Brown over Amon-Ra. I remember that pick. And I like De'Ami Brown. And I was like, but Amon-Ra's on the board, man. You live and you learn. What can you do? All right, so Rashee Rice goes off the board. Let's see what MP is about to do here. Could be interesting. What are we going to do, MP? Trying to keep up with the chat here. Kane to the Dolphins would be amazing. Kindre is a 5th round pick. Overrated. Me and Bob don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, but fair enough. World-class wheels. I'm going to need Tank Chase Brown soon here. In one quarterback is the cutoff the 106. I would say like the elite cutoff in one quarterback would be like the 103, 104. And then the next tier cutoff I would say would be probably around the 106, 107. In a one quarterback league, where should Bryce Young and CJ Stroud go? I'll be honest with you, Brian. I don't have any one quarterback dynasty leagues. So I don't know that I'm going to give you the best advice here. But I think after all the positional players that I'm in love with go off the board, I'd be willing to take a chance. So when Addison's gone, Jackson Smith, Evans, Quentin Johnston, I'm not even sure. I think I would take the quarterbacks over Michael Mayer. I think maybe like late first feels right. But again, I don't play in one quarterback formats. Maddie says 12-team Superflex. Get Herbert, Kyron Williams. Offer 2 late firsts. You're getting Herbert, Kyron Williams. You're offering 2 late firsts and a late second. Oh, this is Justin Herbert? If that's Justin Herbert and you essentially have to give up 2 late firsts and a second, I'm definitely willing to do that.
What the?
We just talked about Rashee Rice. Is Kane a strong pass catcher? He's a good pass catcher. I wouldn't say he's like elite in any way. That was Sky Moore last year. Yeah, true. Everyone's favorite sleeper, him and Shakira.
What the?
Bob, I do love your input on the channel, though. As we always say, guys, everyone's input is always welcome. Yes, I like the Justin Herbert side there. Okay, so MP says Zay Flowers. And I'm not going to pretend that I know a lot about Zay Flowers' game. I'm still working through scouting these players. But what I can say about him is that there is a lot of people who like his game. A lot of people like Zay Flowers. Again, I don't know enough about Zay Flowers to really comment. But I am excited to watch his film. I'm excited to form my own opinions on him. If you guys have opinions on him, you're welcome to offer them into the chat for everyone. But I don't want to pretend like I know a player if I haven't actually done my research on them. So one of those players who's definitely on my list. I definitely need to spend my time and research his game. But I know he's from Boston College, and I know a lot of people really like him. I believe he's undersized. He's undersized if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can find him. Don't I have him in this list somewhere? Let's see. If I'm not mistaken, he's kind of like that other undersized speedster on their team. I put Zay Jones. I meant Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers put up pretty good production this year. He is a senior, so he's not some sort of early declare or anything. But, so you can put a name to the face, or face to the name, rather. Senior, 5'10", 172. Pretty good production this year. Again, I don't know much about his physical traits, so I need to research him a lot more. I don't want to really offer any insight, because it would be made up insight, and I don't want to do that. All right. 210 is Tank Bigsby. Should not fall this far. Okay, fair enough. You know, Tank Bigsby is one of those players. When we started scouting the 2023 class, he was a big name. There was a lot of hype around Tank Bigsby. I remember watching his film before this year, and I couldn't get on board, man. 2021 Tank Bigsby, to me, not good short area explosiveness. Like, long run speed is nowhere near what it needs to be. Not a very good pass catcher. Decent vision. I think what he has going for him is that he's a strong running back. And then there was only a few games where I saw something that really impressed me this year. And I know Auburn's a bad team. I know the offensive line is not what you wanted it to be. But he's one of those guys where I didn't understand the hype personally. At the end of the second round, I don't think it's a bad pick. Did he get drafted? Do we know if he got drafted? Let's find out. He probably did, because he's a pretty big hype name. Oh, no, he didn't get drafted. I thought he would have got drafted. Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Tank falls out of, like, the 4th round this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being, like, a 5th round pick or something like that. So I just haven't been on board. Doesn't mean I'm right. That's just what I personally have been believing since I scouted him. So, but I mean, like, who else would I take over Tank at this point? Let me just look at my list. I definitely think there are people I would take over Tank still, though.
What the?
To be honest, like, yeah, there's like 2 or 3 players, but I don't think it's crazy to take Tank there. Okay, this is going to be Cedric Tillman, and then we'll find out who the last player is. Cedric Tillman, big body wide receiver for Tennessee. Dealt with a lot of injuries this year, but definitely was one of the players who helped spark the run for Tennessee and Hendon Hooker this year. I'm very curious to see what the NFL thinks about him. Rashee Rice is already gone, so he's not available. While we're waiting for who this next pick is, I just want to say a huge thank you. I'm going to leave time for a Q&A for all of you guys. But I just want to say a huge thank you for all the love, for all the support for the past couple weeks. It's been awesome. We're going to be nonstop. We'll take a 2-week break at Christmas, and then we'll be nonstop Dynasty content from there on out. So make sure you're subbed to the channel. Going to be a lot of content coming out. Constantly going to be talking about these prospects. And then do me a favor, if you don't mind, if you're on Twitter, consider dropping me a follow. I'm trying to grow my Twitter presence. I honestly don't like Twitter. I'm one of those people who genuinely, I just have not liked Twitter historically. I think a lot of toxicity goes on over there. A lot of like keyboard warriors. But I'm trying to like get into the space because I know it's important for Dynasty football. So I'm trying to get into the space. I'm trying to be more active. I'm trying to bring you guys some threads that I think are really interesting. For example, I showed you the one about I thought this was funny. Someone commented on one of my do your research and watch some film. I made that my header. I just thought it was funny. It's like, oh, you're right. And I really think that we should change our name to the Hogs. The Washington Hogs. I know the oink is cheesy, but imagine that saying Washington or like Hogs. This is a clean design. I really like this. If you don't know, I'm a Washington and a Chiefs fan. I was trying to find a couple other threads that I did before the season. Might be too late at this point, but sometimes I do polls because I'm curious to see, you know, what people's thoughts are. But there's a thread I wanted to show you guys. I can't find it anymore. It was about Braylon Allen. Anyway. I wanted to brought this sort of kind of information. This was after week 1. A lot of people were freaking out. I just wanted to give some people some calm, give them some context. I try and retweet, you know, relevant things. I want to find this tweet about Braylon Allen. Sometimes I'll do like 2023 draft class rankings as I currently see them. Okay, this is my thread on Braylon Allen. Really excited about him. You guys can feel free to watch that or to read that. Try to give you a little bit of background. If you guys don't, let's talk about Braylon Allen right now. 2024 NFL draft is when he'll be eligible. I think he could be a first-round talent. I truly do. 4-star recruit, signed with Wisconsin, 6'1", 235. A lot of people don't know this, but mostly recruited as a safety or a linebacker. But ended up going to Wisconsin as a running back. As a true freshman, he broke out with 1,200 yards. I believe he was 17/18 years old when all this happened. Early breakout age. And there was a stint where within 2 games, he put up 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. This was at the age of 17, I believe. So I'm really excited about him. But anyway, if you're on Twitter, I'm trying my best to be active. Because I know it's important to the community space. So give me a follow if you don't mind. That would mean a lot. And the support over there, because I know it's a big part of the Dynasty community. I know it's important. I'm trying to get more involved. But anyway, what was the last pick here? Marvin Mims. Okay, so Marvin Mims is the last pick. To be honest, I really don't know at all what the NFL thinks about Marvin Mims. He was a pretty big name coming out of high school. Oklahoma obviously is where he landed. A lot of people were excited about him. I struggle to see what his role will be in the NFL or what sort of capital he might get. He feels very much like a complimentary wide receiver to me. But I want to leave time now for a Q&A. So I'm going to leave about 5 minutes here for a Q&A. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Where would Rachaad White fit into this running back class? Ooh, that's a good question, man. Rachaad White, I'm taking Evans over Rachaad personally. And then I think he fits right in that Tucker, Charbonnet, and Kendre and Blake Corum conversation. I think he fits right in there. I do think I would lean this class over last year's class, obviously, when it comes to running backs. But when it comes to like Tucker, Charbonnet, Kendre, Blake, I feel like they to me feel like the more traditional can carry the ball 10 to 15 to 20 times a game. Whereas Rachaad, when we were scouting him, he looked much more like a wide receiver in the open field rather than a running back. He did not look like a running back to me. Now, he's been impressive, and I think he is best as a pass catcher, and it's good that he is with Tom Brady right now. But if you take Tom Brady away from this team, let's say he goes to San Francisco, which I've been saying could potentially happen. Watch out, Brady to San Francisco. He's not married anymore. He doesn't care. So watch out, Brady to San Francisco. Could be happening. And then they'll say, oh, this is a Trey Lance recovery year. We're going to let him learn under the GOAT. So if Tom Brady goes to San Francisco, or he leaves, or he retires, what is Rachaad White's value? Is there a better resource for finding quality film than YouTube? Not that's cheap, man. Not that not that any of us will be able to afford. Any chance you could do a 3-round draft? Sure. I'm doing a lot of scouting over the next 2 weeks, so I'd be happy to extend it to a 3-round. No doubt. Twitter's getting better, for sure. I just remember, I'll tell you a little story about Twitter. I think what put me off of it is just like anytime I tried to have legit conversations with people, it was just met with like toxicity. So I would much rather talk to people like in Discord or whatever, or in our leagues. But I remember when Baker Mayfield went to the Panthers this offseason, and I had my concerns. I had my concerns all offseason about DJ Moore. He was ranked as the top 12 wide receiver. If you've been on the channel for a while, you will know that video that I put out, because I got some real hate in that video from people who love DJ Moore. And I remember a big name blue checkmark guy was hyped about Baker Mayfield for DJ Moore and was claiming he would be a top 12 wide receiver. And I simply just replied and I said, I can see like your perspective. These are some of my concerns. Like, what do you think? And then that person who was a blue check mark proceeded to quote tweet me and tell me that this is why like casual Dynasty players always miss. And I was like, wow. So instead of just having a conversation with me, you used this as a chance to do what? Like try to roast me in front of your 50,000 followers? Like, and then all the replies I got were from people who follow him just hating on my concerns about DJ Moore. So I found it really hard to interact with people in the fantasy space or the Dynasty space on Twitter, because other opinions typically aren't welcome. And that's why we are so conscious to try and allow other opinions on this channel. Now, I'm not going to name who that was because it doesn't matter, but I am trying to be a positive person on Twitter. I'm trying to be someone that can bring information. It might not be as technically sound as you want it to be, but bring my thoughts and just, you know, have casual conversations and talk about the class. I'm aware I'm not an NFL scout, But I put a lot of time into trying to grow as someone who watches film, as someone who understands the game and is continually, pretty much every week, trying to get better at what I do. So I like to have those kind of conversations. Jordan Love for a 2023 mid-second and a late third. Let's see. I mean, who are we getting in the mid-second here? Can you make that a late second? Because I actually really like the beginning of this second round. If that's like a mid to late second, then to be honest, I don't think Love at this point should cost more than a mid to late second. But I'm still someone who's very much in on Jordan Love as a buy. He's been a hold, a stash for me all offseason. I've made multiple videos about him back in February, March of 2022 this year. Dox him, Zach. No, I'm not going to. Again, I don't want to contribute to the toxicity of Twitter. I want to try and be, a positive influence, or, a positive person on Twitter, and just, bring some thoughts that I have. I said earlier I had a hit tweet, and I've never had a hit tweet before, so that was cool. I was so frustrated watching, I need to go to the other. I was so frustrated watching that Saints game. I cannot explain the frustration that I had. I don't understand it. But anyway, I'm going to leave time now for a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask them. Oh, that's for when Badake gets back. Now is the time to ask your questions. I got about 5 minutes. I'm going to go get some lunch. I'm seeing Kendrick Lamar tonight. Really excited about it. And I might do a little bit of film before that. So let me know if there's any final questions. If not, that's okay. I'd be happy to end the stream. Hey, Order 66. Thanks for the sub. If you think Thursday night football is slow, try watching soccer. Yeah, I actually, I used to live with a bunch of British people, and they were obsessed with the Premier League. So, in turn, I watched the Premier League. And I support Everton, but yeah, soccer, football is a little bit tough to get into. Thanks for the stream. Of course, Steven, no worries. All right, guys. I think that might be it then. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the likes. If you haven't liked the video yet, that would mean a lot if you could do so. When you like, when you subscribe, it is a very, very simple way for you to support what we do. Of course, you can check out our Patreon if you want to support our work in the link below. Super chats help. Why NWA, sir? I actually don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. But anyway. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. We will talk very, very soon. More streams to come. Make sure that you hang out with your family during the holidays. Make sure you set aside time to, that you're with family, that you're hanging out. We drove. Thank you for the sub. But anyway, thank you for the sub. Make sure that you guys are with family. You're hitting the reset button before the new year. And then come, second week of January, we'll be all in on Dynasty content. You'll never walk alone. Oh, no. Yeah. I actually have a friend who's a Liverpool fan. And I just don't have the expectations of a Liverpool fan. Like, we're just not good, and that's okay. Anyway, guys, appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your night. Join the Discord if you want to be a part of mock drafts in the future. And we'll see you again very soon. All love. And, by the way, we did a Dynasty startup draft yesterday as a live stream. And we included the 2023 rookies. So if you want to see that stream, it's on our page already. You can go check that out. All right. Huge love.